Hey, Shalom, Shalom. This is the brother Quadar of GMS Gulf Coast, and I'd like to start by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors are given up to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, men who have labored and suffered in this truth for over 30 plus years, making their lives and their bodies a living sacrifice. I also like to send Shalom to the elders, the bishops, heads of camps, Great Millstone by and large, the hopefully elected 1/3 of the nation of Israel scattered throughout the four winds, north, south, east, and west, which consist of men, women, and children in that order, as well as last but not least any of you Akim not named GMS, but walking one body, one spirit, Yahweh Shai, preaching and teaching the 100% truth with all true faith and sincerity and all diligence. And in order to you all, Shalom. Lord willing, this be edifying. This is really just a video just going in talking, subject matter, just calling Jake out on his BS, man. What you call these Clayton Bigsby's, that term that, what his name, Dave Chappelle came up with in one of his skits. The blind black man that thought that he was the head of the KKK, Clayton Bigsby. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Lamont Hill, two so-called black men. From outer appearance, you would just assume right off the top that they're Israelites, and I'll go out on a limb and say that they are. But just like I was going into just now, just stating, they come off as a Clayton Bigsby. If you don't know who Clayton Bigsby is, look at that skit, Dave Chappelle's show, where the blind black guy thought he was the head of the KKK, and you get a insight on what I'm talking about. But you know what? I'm gonna speak on that. Clayton Bigsby was a man. If you look at that skit, he kind of stands as the poster child for, or the mascot, I'd rather say, the mascot for all you so-called black folks that always make an excuse to be seeking love from these folks, no matter what the track record shows as concerning the dominant society in this particular age, the so-called white folks. Clayton Bigsby always sought refuge in the bosoms of these folks. And no matter what kind of wrong that they did, or name calling that they laid upon him, he always took the side of his oppressors. Mind you, he was a blind black man who thought he was the head of the KKK. Anyway, having said that, I'm going to go on and get into the crux of it, man. This is dealing with Floyd Mayweather Jr. TBE, one of the best ever, as he so proudly states about himself. And there's no doubt he's he's retired now, so he was a very, very, very talented professional fighter. One of the best I've seen in my lifetime. And that's inside the ring. So it's taking no accolades from Jake. You know what I'm talking about? Jake is the best at what Jake does, and that's across the board for all you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. But outside his job, horrible person. Comes to mind a Clayton Bigsby, No matter what the oppressor does, there's no fault to the oppressor. What must I do, or what can I do to further prove my alliance to you? That's Clayton Bigsby. And when these two clips here, that I'm about to show you, man, and this is just for educational purposes only. I want no rights to this. This is for fair use, period. I don't get no proceeds, no nothing out of this. Just want to show the inconsistency of our people, man, or rather the Stockholm Syndrome. because what you about to see, or hear rather, it goes against what any so-called black man should stand for, and dealing with ethnic groups outside of our own ethnicity. It's called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. We shouldn't give a damn about what these people think, say, or do when it's not concerning us. Because the fact of the matter is, they don't give a damn about what you think, say, or do concerning you. They can come less. They're not going to come to your rescue. They're not going to send you aid. They're not going to show you any type of support. None of the above. And if they do it with an underlying agenda. Use you as a Trojan horse to get as a means to an end. There was nothing genuine about what they was doing on behalf of you or for you. And for the record, this has always been the case. So it vexes just your soul, your spirit, to see so-called blacks going out of their way to choose a side in this Israeli-Palestinian debacle. But let me stop talking. Check this out.
Sending a private jet. People who need it more. No water, no food, no shit. Nothing. Zero. And you are saying, I'm here against terrorists. Don't miss this amazing opportunity from Nature's Blends to get your finest premium.
Now notice, this is I would assume this is a so-called Palestinian, Arab, or whatever you want to call them, what I'm talking about, speaking in disgust of Floyd Mayweather, because Mayweather has come out and chose the side of the Israelis against the Palestinians, or Hamas. And so he got a bone to pick with Mayweather. But outside of that, he can care less about Mayweather. He don't care nothing about the brutality that Jake suffers day in and day out here in the valley of the shadow of death, a.k.a. Babylon the Great, a.k.a. America. He can care less about that. But when it came to the issues between Israeli and his people, he got a bone to pick because he chose the wrong side. But mind you, the same man that is throwing insults to Floyd can care less about Floyd and the people that look like Floyd. So let's call a spade a spade. Let's call a spade a spade.
Black seed oil and shilajit to get that energy levels back up. Check them out now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters and dear friends. Floyd Mayweather has not only put his support for Israel, he has also sent a private jet with food, water and ammunition and body armor and all that kind of stuff. What makes me sick to my stomach is not the fact that, if there is people in need, no problem. Standing with them, supporting them, helping them, food, I have no problem with that at all. If this is the case, you are talking about a state who is well established, so much so that they are dropping white phosphorus bombs on Palestinians. They've killed over 500 kids. Now I want to question Mayweather. I want to question him. What kind of a vile human being are you? Not that sending a plane full of these things to Israel. The point is, they don't even need that. So who are you sucking up to? Huh? Who are you sucking up to? The Palestinians are being...
Yeah, it's funny, He asks, who are you sucking up to? You follow the, And like I say, he only got a bone to pick with Mayweather because Mayweather's a multi-millionaire. He's a recognizable face here in America as concerning the entertainment athlete world. You understand what I'm saying? And so he's a well-known celebrity worldwide. You know what I'm talking about? He does boxing expeditions over in Dubai for $12, $15 million. You know what I'm saying? He's real invested in himself, that Mayweather, and he thinks highly of himself. So you hear this I'm not going to call no names. I'm going to try to keep it clean. This Arab, Palestinian, whatever, he wants to call him a vile human being, Now, let me be clear here. As for Mayweather, because Mayweather's a so-called black man. I believe his dad is Jamaican descent, so that would make him a Benjamite. You know what I'm talking That makes him one of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And here in these latter days, this is the foolery that our people choose to participate in for trying to seek some type of validation. I'm going to show you another clip here real quick. Real quick.
I'm not an African American. I'm an American. I was born on American soil. But I did go back to the motherland, and I love it. And made millions going back to the motherland. But I was born in America. When the Europeans came to the Native Americans, well, they like to call them Native Americans, but the Indians' land, we don't call them European Americans. So I don't want to be called an African American. I'm an American. You know what I'm saying? You can call me a black American, but I'm an American. When I competed in the Olympics, they didn't say fighting an African American. They said that American that's fighting out of the red corner or out the blue corner. I love America. I love this country.
He loves America. You can call him a black American, but don't call him African American. Hey, you know, he got it halfway right, you know. Let's who we fooled him, man. He didn't get none of it right. He's not an American. You know what I'm talking about? As far as his paperwork shows, you know what I'm talking about? He's a quote unquote supposedly a citizen of the United States of America. But us in the know him as being a Benjamite of the tribe of Judah, the house of Israel. Something that Mr. Mayweather may never claim, you know, but hey, to his detriment, that just had to be the case. You know, that just have to be the case. But the point is that Jake is always finding a fight that doesn't involve him, that has nothing to do with the so-called African American or the so-called Black American. Has nothing to do with you. But yet and still, Jake always, you know, finds a way, you know. After all the name calling and all the atrocities that have been done to you, you still find your way in there, you know, somebody to seek validation. Now, this one right here is another clip. This is, what is his name? You see the title says, Why Black People Should Care About. You see that? Why Black People Should Care About Palestinian Liberation. And this is coming from black folks, you know what I'm talking about? Mayweather's sending private jets and money and cash. Well, I don't know if he's sending cash, but a private jet with ammo and bulletproof vests and all of these different things, you know what I'm talking about? But now, if my memory serves me correctly, Mayweather is from Flint, Michigan. The same Flint, Michigan, yes, that had that water crisis. Yeah. Where they got all that lead in the water. And Flint, Michigan, when you look it up, man, it was a thriving town back 30, 40 years ago, but it's been on decline since all this gentrification and carrying on. You know what I'm talking about? Making sure Jake stay in the most defiled and decrepit places here in Babylon, a.k.a. America. And having to do so, having to stay in the most worst conditions, they make sure that they double up on the poison that you're going to receive by way of your toothpaste, water, food, you name it, education, just living conditions altogether. And Mr. Mayweather went and bought an $18 million watch right around that same time that Flint, Michigan had that water crisis. It made national news. And it's the same man here, Floyd Mayweather, you just seen, flaunted around an $18 million watch he just purchased. Now, I've said this before in the past, that so many of you so-called blacks in particular, you know, I'm talking directly to you if you see this video, you think that the things that you can acquire here in America makes you who you are. And I'm going to tell you straight out, that's a very shallow way of looking at things. If material things make you, then you are a very shallow individual. Because any of this shit could be taken from you at a moment's time. You don't own nothing. They have it in legislation. They have it in legislation. You could have built your home, bought the property, and built your home without borrowing one penny from the bank. But in the legislation, it has written that you can own no property here. And if you own your home, you are labeled as a tenant. I don't care if you didn't borrow one brown penny from any financial institution here. You know, Jake just, but this is the madness that Jake, you know, this is Jake. Like I said, I'm trying to keep it clean. I don't want to be all in name calling and carrying on. But let's go on to the next video. This is I think he was a journalist for MSNBC, you know, the Democratic side. You know, you so-called black folks, you love your Democratic Party. I ain't say I wasn't going to make fun of you. I wasn't going to make jokes about you. Yeah, you love your Democratic Party because they will tell you, yes, we'll help you with this, and yes, we'll help you with that until they get where they going, and then they tell you, nigga, get back in your place. But the Republicans, on the other hand, they're more, how should I invert it? They're more outgoing. In other words, all their hatred and disgust for you, they pretty much wear it out there on their sleeves. You know what I'm talking about? They don't tuck and hide it and smile and, you know, just look at Donald Trump. He's the poster boy for that. So that's pretty much how the Republican Party is. You know what I'm talking about? Mitt Romney, you know, all these faces that have been the staple or the foundation of the Republican Party. They pretty much tell you to your face they discuss with you, and so therefore, you know, Jake will try to steer clear of that. But on the other hand, the Democratic Party will smile in your face, invite you to cookouts, and set you up for the Republicans. You can't make this up. Anyway, let's listen to him. Like I say, a former member of the Democratic Party, making a case of why you so-called black folks should support and care about Palestinian freedom.
There's a long tradition of black folk who have stood up and spoken out against the occupation of Palestine and spoken for the liberation and self-determination of the Palestinian people. I'm Mark Lamont Hill, and this is a word.
Look at that sweater, super black. See these Jakes, they embrace that blackness. You understand? And notice his shirt is black. His sweater, his pullover, his hoodie is black with white writing. Now, mind you, whenever you see anything via news, television, whatnot, it's all staged and set up. It has a backdrop meaning. You understand? He has on a black hoodie with white strings for drawstrings and the word super black written in white letters. You know, to my more or less to just make you so that you can actually see what's written on that sweater. But super black, come on, man. All this information inundating the airwaves, you know. This water, this living water, as the Apostle Elder Gabar says, this living water is inundated the airwaves. YouTube, you can't go on YouTube without seeing a video dealing with the Apostle Elders, the heads of camps, Great Millstone. Not just that, you know, any of these other camps. And I'm not advocating for any of these other camps, but someone is telling you that you're not black. You know what I'm talking about? And that charge is fully and mainly coming from the Israelites. You understand? And here is a so-called educated man with a damn black hoodie on, talking about super black, and finna lay down his case of why you so-called blacks should support and give a damn about what's going on with both of those intruders of our land, the Palestinians and the Israelis. Can't make it up.
Nation of the Palestinian people. I'm Mark Lamont Hill, and this is a word about why black Americans should support Palestinian liberation. I first became interested in the Middle East when I became interested in Malcolm X. I read Malcolm's story, and when I saw that Malcolm in 1959 and again in 1964 had made these trips to Africa and
Now, mind you, let's touch on that real quick. Slacking for me to keep jumping in. Malcolm, what his name, King, all of them spoke of that liberate. For crime committed, if there's no freedom, if there's been oppression set in the world somewhere, something to this degree, that the oppression exists everywhere. So, so they made it their personal fight to go out and fight for other people. You know what I'm talking about? Especially King. You know what I'm talking about? He took on the philosophies of Mahatma Gandhi, who despise you so-called blacks. Well, we so-called blacks, not you. And these, and you see the tradition of the coonery, the buffoonery, the Clayton Bigsby's, talking about being ushered and pushed on to present day. It's more refined. It's more refined. It's more elegantly spoken. But nevertheless, these are Clayton Bigsby's. You understand? Just like, the Ku Klux Klan took off the sheets and they put on 3-piece suits and ties and start making legislation more refined, but they're still Klansmen. You understand? These Floyd Mayweathers and these Lamont Hills, are Clayton Bigsby's. We ain't got no business fighting for the liberation or giving a damn about anybody outside of ourselves. When the Lord has set you up to be above everyone, just come back to him. You know what I'm talking about? Come back to the law, statutes, commandments. Come back to your heritage. Serve the Most High with all thy heart, mind, and soul, and love your brother likewise. But you rather sit up here and make a case for why we should give a damn about the Palestinians. And you start your case by saying, I studied Malcolm X and this and that. Malcolm is dead. When he was used up, they put him up the same way they did with Martin Luther King and any other so-called black leader that they set up, that they propped up through some type of nefarious means, all the way to the Black Panther Party. Anyway.
I first became interested in the Middle East when I became interested in Malcolm X. I read Malcolm's story, and when I saw that Malcolm in 1959 and again in 1964 had made these trips to Africa and also to the Middle East, I became interested in what Malcolm was interested in, which was thinking about black freedom on a global scale. I then went back to graduate school after my PhD to pursue another degree in Middle East studies. I wanted to know what it meant to be black in Jordan or Iran or Egypt or Palestine. Since the end of the 19th century, there has been a growing battle over the area that is now known as Israel and Palestine. Waves of Jewish immigration into the region, combined with tensions over land, over employment, over law, over what the state would look like, have gotten more and more and more intense over this period of time. Over decades, we saw a greater and greater emphasis on pushing Palestinians off of the land, taking away land rights, taking away employment opportunities, and you saw resistance, you saw struggle, you saw battles, and at the same time, you also have increased anti-Semitism, you have increased pressure around the globe, which is compounded once you get to the 1930s and 1940s, because you now have this thing called World War II. Of course, you have the Holocaust. You have all these things that are legitimizing a very real need to find a safe haven for Jewish people. The question was, how do we provide a safe haven for Jewish people and still honor the fact that there are indigenous Palestinians on this land who have a right to be here? And so for that reason, we see a struggle over the region and over that particular slice of land that continues until today. To call it a settler colonial project is not to deny the legitimacy of Judaism or of Jewish people in the region. Settler colonialism is not just controlling the territory and the land, but it's actually moving onto that land and replacing the indigenous people of the land. Israeli settler colonialism is more complicated than other places. There is a long-standing and legitimate Jewish presence in Israel and in historic Palestine. And what we've seen since 1882, which is the beginning of the first major immigration, is not just a wave of people coming in, but a very organized and systematic attempt to push Palestinians out. I don't like to make apples to apples comparisons between what Palestinians are going through and what black people are going through. I don't want people to feel like the struggles have to be the same to be worth the investment in them. That said, there's a long tradition of black folk who have stood up and spoken out against the occupation of Palestine and spoken for the liberation and self-determination of the Palestinian people. Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers believed in the struggle of the Palestinian people and showed solidarity. So you got from Malcolm, SNCC, the Panthers, Angela Davis, June Jordan. A black person standing with Palestine ain't new. There are people in the United States who say, look, black folk are catching enough hell here. We should put our 100% attention on that. And I ain't mad at people that say that. I don't agree, but I understand the impulse to say, look, cops are shooting us, the economy is collapsing, schools are broken. How can I think about someone in Palestine? We should care about the Palestinian freedom struggle first because they're human beings. And as African people, we don't have the luxury of choosing who we're going to be allied with. We have to side with all principled, humanistic freedom struggles. I don't care where they are. We can't get free unless everybody's free.
That's a bunch of hogwash. That's all that is. Anyway, check this out. Let's go straight to scriptures real quick. That's a bunch of hogwash. We can't be free unless everybody else free. That's that old Malcolm spoke about that, you know. We sick, boss. You know what I'm saying? Man, we sick, boss. That type of talk. Man, scripture just slipped my mind. Got to be more careful. Ain't that something? It just slipped my mind just that fast. Let's see. Slacker. Real quick. How about we started with this right here? Slacker. Real quick. Let's see, 1 Corinthians 3 and let's see. This is 1 Corinthians 3 and 19. No, we're going to start 18. Just real quick. It says, let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. You know? Because the Lord had used the foolishness, used the foolish, let's see, real quick, to confound the wise. This is 1 Corinthians and 1 Corinthians 1 and 27. But Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua has chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. See, these men, he spoke of his PhD. I went and got my PhD, and he followed in the footsteps of failed attempts. It went from liberating our people to, well, hell, let's try to help other folks then. You know what I'm talking about? That's where these so-called blacks at now. Because when you look back at Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton and what's the other guy? He just mentioned his name from the Black Panthers, Martin Luther King, all of those are failed attempts to try to, and let's call it what it is. These were set up controlled oppositions, for lack of better words. Yes, I said it, because there's tapes where Malcolm was interviewed by the feds trying to flip him. And you have to think that Malcolm was flipped, because he left here, went to Mecca and came back, and I had white brothers and Muslim, and his whole rhetoric changed. He turned into Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King turned into him when it was all said and done. Go check it out for yourself. Malcolm was quoted as saying, not Malcolm, but Martin Luther King was quoted as saying, I believe that I have led my people into a burning house. So they had completely switched roles by the end of their terms of their pact agreement with this so-called devil. Not no so-called devil, but this so-called white man, which is the devil. But 1 Corinthians 1 and 27, but Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua had chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua had chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. There it is. When you see the men on the highways and hedges and whatnot, we're not no Malcolm X sympathizers, Martin Luther King civil rights sympathizers, Black Panther throw your fists up sympathizers. We understand by way of the scriptures, none of these men were set here to redeem us. They were set as examples for, if it wasn't of the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it was to come to naught. They were the examples. These things we were supposed to look to through the scriptures and vetted by way of the scriptures to know that these were the examples of not how to walk, not to follow these ways. And now Jake is so worn out and beat down that they want to save everybody. Damn, saving one another. Let's choose a side. Want to stick your nose in something that ain't got nothing to do with you outside of that land, and the Lord is going to take you back there. Now let's go back to 1 Corinthians. Back in 1 Corinthians. Because these so-called wise men, they're foolish. They're foolish. Going back to 1 Corinthians 3:18, it says, "Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise." Lamont Hill, I got a PhD. That seemeth to be wise in this world. Yeah, he seemed to be wise in this world, but this world is rinky-dink in comparison to the knowledge of the scriptures. Even whether or not Teddy Roosevelt has spoken that. If you have the knowledge of the scriptures, a damn college degree don't pale in comparison, roughly paraphrasing. But our people run down and get all this student loan debt and all that, want to become professors and PhD this and to go on these damn mainstream news platforms and whatnot and make an ass of themselves. Get used up for a season and now they doing TikTok videos. All the way down to a pitiful attempt to try to convince you to pick a side in a war in which the Most High is going to bomb both sides into oblivion. Better stay the hell up out of that. You ain't got nothing to do with that. Let's go back to the scriptures now. 1 Corinthians 3:18, "Let no man deceive himself, because many of them are deceived. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise." Let him understand the ways he's been walking and talking and acting, pursuing this man's what it is, certificates of accomplishments, bachelor's degrees and master degrees and PhDs. Let him become a fool. Let him find out that was just all foolish. Let him read some of the quotes from some of the men who have helped lay the foundations to this trap, like Teddy Roosevelt, who said that a college education pales in comparison to the knowledge of the scriptures. Let him become a fool. Let him see that what all his time and effort expended in what he's done, he was just a fool. That he may be wise, so he can wake up to the true knowledge, to the true wisdom. 19, "For the wisdom of this world," check this out, "is foolishness with Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. For it is written, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness." Taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Verse 20, "And again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain." Trying to convince you to pick a side. Floyd Mayweather sending private jets over there with ammo and bulletproof vests and whatnot, but in the same breath, he can't help the people from his own home city there in Flint, Michigan. You know what I'm talking about? And instead, he goes and spends $18 million on a watch while children are dying of lead poisoning and whatnot. But like I said, these were examples sent to us to show us that if it's of man, it will come to naught. It will come to naught. Now, it'll slip my brain again. Okay, yeah, let me go real quick to Isaiah. Real quick. I think it's 31. It might be 30, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna read this right here. It says, "Woe." It's Isaiah 31. Woe to the rebellious children. And let's look at that word "children" real quick, because this ain't talking about everybody. It's talking about the children of Israel. Okay.
Strong's H1121. Bane.
Now, my name on one of my channels is Quadar Bond. Bond goes into son. That's what it means. Let's go real quick. And it's spelled B-A-N. B-A-N, not B-E-N. And let's get it. It says outline of biblical use. Son, grandson, child, member of group. Son, male child, grandson, son. They say member, son. Let's see. Let's go real quick. From H1129, a son as a builder of the family name. And when you go into the name Israel, its Paleo Hebrew pronunciation is Yasha'Allah. Yasha'Allah, which goes in Prince of the Power, or he is the Prince of Power. The sons of the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. So bond, or children, is just a translation for the word bond. So it's really talking about the men, the children, the people of Israel, starting with the men, because the Lord's counsel is with the men. Let's see, real quick says, since grandson, subject nation, quality conditions, father or brother. But that's the let's go back. So we just want to get an understanding. It says, woe to the rebellious children, or rather son, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me. Yeah. And it says right there at the top, Judah warned against Egyptian alliance. You are not to be allying with no one, taking sides with nobody. It says, woe to the rebellious children, and we know that that's where children goes into son. Said the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Egypt, of Slakia Pharaoh, be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. See, they done seen so many so-called black men trotted down and shot down and set up, to be an opposition to whatever the mainstream was pushing, going back into the Garveys, going back into the Malcolms, going back into the Martin Luther Kings, going back into the Black Panthers Party. Now you're confused. You got to help somebody, because you're still taking quotes from Martin and Malcolm. King said an atrocity not faced somewhere is an atrocity everywhere, something of that sort. I know I'm chewing it up, chopping it up. But they still operate off the same premise. Them Clayton Bigsby's, you understand what I'm saying? Instead of addressing the problem, which is your oppressor, your natural born enemy, just like a chicken hawk and a chicken are natural born enemies, just like a lion and a hyena is natural born enemies. The only difference between them and you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the chicken hawk and a lion and the chicken understand that they're enemies. The lion and the hyena understand that they're enemies. You don't understand that this so-called white man is your enemy. You confused. And your remedy is in these scriptures, coming back to the Lord, to the law, statutes, and commandments. This is your remedy. But you're confused. Been trodden down and beat down with these bootleg ass, go both ways ass pastors that let anything go in these damn church houses, that let anything transpire in these church houses. You're confused. So now you're picking sides with people who hate the air you breathe. That man on that Islamic man or whatever, Palestinian guy on that first video dealing with Floyd, he can care less about the situations that are going on in America with so-called black Americans, African Americans. he was dismayed with Floyd, disgusted with Floyd because Floyd had chosen the sides of the Israelis over the Palestinians. You heard them. They got plenty of money. They can rain down phosphorus bombs on children and this, that, and this. He can care. He mentioned nothing about you doing something for your own people. That's furthest thing from his mind because he can care less about Floyd or the people who look like Floyd. And that's the point. That's why the Lord says, "Woe to you! Woe to you!" This is Proverbs chapter 15, real quick. And verse 19. Matter of fact, let me grab it here. I was just thinking about this. Let me grab this. Proverbs 15. Where is that? Okay, right here. 15 and 19. Now, the correction is in the streets. When you hear the prophets, beginning with the apostle elders, on down to brothers such as myself, the elders, the bishops, the heads of counts, brothers such as myself doing this work, to my with truth and sincerity. The correction is being laid to you so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. But hey, you're not with it. You're not gonna take it. You're not gonna take the correction. Okay. Where we at? Okay. This is Proverbs, like I jumped to the wrong one. I'm looking at that, I'm like, that ain't lining up. Here it is right here. This is Proverbs 15:10, and it reads, "Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth reproof shall die." Have you seen the end results of these men that you idolize, and this is the reason why you got your PhD, and to carry on that struggle, that these men have been put to death for, gotten you nowhere. He's not, and when you listen to Lamont Hill or Floyd Mayweather, by way of Floyd's actions, because Floyd is just as toe up with articulating something with his speeches as I am. So you don't never hear Floyd speaking per se. But my point being is that they're so broken down. So like I lost my point down. Anyway, correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hateth the reproof shall die. So anyway, following the footsteps of men who have been put to death behind a dead end cause, when the correction comes to you by way of the prophets, the men that have been set up from the beginning, Jeremiah 28:8, prophets of old, and matter of fact, I'm gonna grab it real quick since I said that. Let me go there. Jeremiah 28:8. And it reads, it says, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesy against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence." Hey, Malcolm never came in the spirit of it's going to be a World War III. He never came in the spirit of warning you about the MOTB. Neither did Martin Luther King. None of these men did. They spoke about issues that was related straight to the so-called Negroes at that time. You know what I'm talking about? When your issues were way more detrimental than that. You know what I'm saying? There was other things coming down the pipe that was way more detrimental. They didn't come in the spirit of the Lord speaking prophecy. You know what I'm talking about? They didn't come in the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. In the book of Revelations, it says in 19, and I think it's in 10 or 19 and 9, one of them it says, okay, this is Revelation 19 and 10, "And I fell at his feet to worship him and said unto him, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Hamashiach Yahushua, worship Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy." They came not in the spirit of prophecy. They came not in the spirit of prophecy. So all of that they did came to naught. It was set up as an example of what not to do in these latter days. Let me grab this real quick and get up out of here. I've been just rambling on. This is Proverbs, 27. Because see, The gifts, the things that you can receive for not taking a remedy, for not dealing with the scriptures, not dealing with the true name of the Most High, Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, by not recognizing, but for not professing, for not, claiming, who you are, not pushing it. There's monetary gain that can come with that. But just like it said, let's go back real quick. Correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. You know what I'm talking about? That way is not profitable. You understand? And he that hated reproof shall die. And sure enough, they all have, and then none of them will beat the bullet. At least they repent. Now let's go real quick. This is Proverbs, the same chapter. Let's see. Where is that? This is Proverbs 15th chapter, 26th verse. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. Here we go. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. All the gifts and perks that come along with denouncing the name and whatnot, what it says, let's go back to Proverbs, in the same chapter 10, it says, correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way, and he that hated reproof, correction, he shall die. He shall die. And taking these gifts, he that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. That's the opposite of taking a 501c3 or whatever, some of these Israelite groups have done. Majority, if not all your churches have done. You understand? Becoming a big time journalist, a multimillionaire athlete. There's gifts. You understand? And a word to the wise would not to even be looking up to these people. There's nothing. Because the Lord is using the foolishness of this word to confound the wise. Verse 32, and I'm going to close out. It says, he that refuseth instruction despiseth his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. Verse 33, the fear of the Lord Yahweh is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. At least these men repent and be humiliated for the path that they've taken. Death lies at the end of their road. Lord willing, it was edifying. And I'd like to close out by giving infinite honor and praise to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle elders, great millstone. Shalom.